Hey, so it is Saturday morning, Saturday, September 30th, and I have been inspired since like all week. I mean, all month, but all week to partake in the Project Dress the Girl project. That's being run by Marisos over at Marisos here on YouTube. And she has done a phenomenal job all this month. There have been YouTube vloggers talking about the event, showing off their makes. She does like weekly unboxings of all the dresses. It's a charity event where, so it's like you and I get together. We've been making dresses all month, and they give them to young girls in need, in underprivileged or under-resourced communities. And I just think it's a wonderful cause. She's been doing it for a couple of years, and I have not been able to participate each year. So this year, I was like, it's not gonna pass me by. I've been doing a lot of selfish sewing this month, rightfully so. I needed it. And yeah, I called the quilt shop that's in Gaithersburg, Maryland, that she has partnered with, and they will actually accept the donations of the dresses. But when I called them, they said that today was the last day that they would actually accept it. So I just dropped my daughter off at ballet, and I have about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes that I can spend here at home. So I am just ironing some gorgeous Ankara fabric that I plan to use to make a couple of dresses. I am going to be using Simplicity S8852 simply because I've utilized it before. I am going to make a couple of dresses, I think, but they're all gonna be size 4 just because that's what I already have cut out, since that's what I use for my daughter. And I am going to make them with a couple of different variations. That's my plan. Here is the gorgeous Ankara fabric that I'm using. I used some of this to make a birthday dress for my daughter, and I just think it's so fun and vibrant, and I hope some other little girls would love to have a dress made out of this. So I'm ironing. I'm going to do some block fusing for interfacing because it does have some facing pieces. Sometimes I omit the facing and just do like line the bodice maybe, but that does require a bit more hacking, a bit more fabric, which I'm not opposed to. It does make a beautiful clean finish, but I have also found that doing the facing, I actually press my facing down. Sorry, I sew my facing down and then utilize that top stitching line that it creates to actually add some decorative like embellishments on top with some of my trims. So I think I'm just gonna do that again this time. I figure if I can get them cut out in this morning time slot that I have before I have to go pick up my daughter, I could probably be able to sew them, you know, early this morning or into the early afternoon, and then get out to Gaithersburg to drop off the dresses before the quilt shop closes. That's the plan anyway, so wish me luck. Let's see how many of these dresses I can knock out this morning. Hello there. So I was able to cut out about 5 dresses. I'm now cutting out the facings and whatnot, and I am so glad I thought of this. I pivoted the pattern piece of the dress front and dress back. I pivoted from the, from the front of the dress and pivoted this way to allow for more ease at the bottom. Now, what that did was that it does change the shape of what will be the facing, because now you have this extra space here. So I'm laying down the dress front as is. I'm lining it up with the facing at the shoulders, and I am going to cut around this edge and the neck edge, and then I'm going to lift up, keep it placed at its new spot, and then cut around the bottom there to account for this additional space. And I'm going to do the same thing with the back facing as well, just to make sure that the facing will actually fit. Those are the 3 facings for 3 of the versions that I did not pivot at the back and front like dress pieces. So glad I caught that, and I'm gonna finish cutting out the facings now. Here we are. I have my 3 facings for the regularly cut ones. I just showed you what I did with the ones that I altered. Here is the 5th dress that I had already cut out some tiers in a previous iteration I was gonna make, so I'm just gonna use that here. Almost forgot to cut out pockets, so I pulled apart the bottom tier and used the other half that was here to cut out 5 sets of pockets. So each dress will have 2 pockets is what I would prefer. I can just attach it and not do a tiered system because I think it's the same length. Just attach it and make that just a long piece with one tier that attaches, you know, with one gathered tier that attaches to the bodice, and then just cover up that seam with like a band of rickrack without it being like multiple tiers. I think that's actually what I'm gonna do, and put the pockets. So it is probably somewhere about 5 o'clock right now, and that is when the quilt shop closes, sadly. Put it down in the comments below if you saw the beginning of this video, like, Fatmata, are you really gonna be able to do that in time? It was wishful thinking, okay, but things happened throughout the day. Not mad at it, but here we are. So what I'm going to do instead, I will still make them. I'm just gonna mail them to Mari's P.O. box because she will accept them, I believe, through the end of this week. So my plan is to hopefully get them done and then ship them out on Monday. So I went through and wrote my order of operations because I may do things a little bit differently than how the S8852 would have you do it from the instructions. But primarily, I think I'm going to do a lot of the fiddly things, like instead of doing rouleau loops and buttons that this pattern calls for, because Project Dress a Girl does not want buttons, I'm going to do ties. So I'm going to do all the ties. I'm going to sew the facings, like the front and backs of the facings, together, I think. And then I am also going to fold over and press the pockets so that all of the fiddly little things are done. And then I'm going to run through and begin the construction bits. I'm just getting around to getting all the ties done. I have pockets. I made myself a little template out of some cardboard so that I could fold them on the back so that I can have them really neat and nice. So I have 9 pockets. One of them had like the little gunky glue remnant residue on it, so I'm not going to use that. So one of the dresses will just have 1 pocket, and I have the facings all pressed and facinged and sticking to each other and whatnot. But any hoosers, so that's what I've done so far. We've had guests. It's been a good day, but also not like a full, just in the sewing cave, just sewing. And yeah, so that was the whole like getting it to them today was never gonna happen. Who would have known? Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get cracking on these. I think I have 2 ways of finishing facings typically. I either narrow roll hem them, or I would put bias binding around it just to make it look real clean on the inside. Everything else is pressed, so I can start doing my assembly line sewing. That is the plan. I'll just keep at it and see how much I get done tonight, luckily, because I'm not taking it anywhere tonight. And I am going to mail them off on Monday. When I get tired, which could be soon, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night and then pick things back up in the morning. Just wanted to check in and let you know how today went. Not as planned. But we're going to sew some dresses for Project Dress a Girl. And thankfully, Mari was super, super kind. But, you know, the effort was made. So let's just say that I made it this month, okay? Okay? Good night. I'm about to go to bed now. I have 5 little packets. So I have sewn up the center back seam, attached the ties, fixed all of the facings, and made sure that I attached the proper facing to the right thing, and sewed up the shoulder seams. for all 5 sets of dresses, but I could use a really good rest. I feel it. My body's starting to tell me that I need to call it quits for the night. So that's all for me today. I hope that you've had a great finale to September, and if you participated or are participating in Project Dress a Girl, you probably already have your dresses done. Good job on you. I'm still working on mine, so that's it. I'll see you in October. It's a new day. We are fresh and hydrated. I am going ahead to give the iron a little drink. We're going to begin by doing some pressing. I'm consulting my revamped sort of instructions. I did consult the actual pattern instructions, but because I'm adding patch pockets, which is different than the pattern, I'm doing it sleeveless. I have some other, changes that I made. After consulting the pattern instructions, I have my next steps right now are to go ahead and press those center back seams that I did last night and flat felled seam them is what I want to do. In addition, I'm going to flat felled seam the shoulder seams, put those facings around the neck, and then iron the pockets onto the front before I sew the side seams. Let's get into it. All right, so facings have been placed. It actually looks so good. Look at how clean that is with the ties in the back. Secure. I actually prefer the facing method for little girls' clothes, I think. It was so fiddly to do. I'm going to be super honest. It took me, I think I was working on the facings for about an hour and 45 minutes to about 2 hours, if I'm being generous. I mean, I didn't take too many breaks. So that was pretty accurate, down to like pressing it flat and all of that. It was just really fiddly, but I did all 5 of them. And now I am placing the pockets. I'm trying to find the placement that I want on each of the dresses. And all 4 of them are going to have 2 pockets. One is going to have a single pocket. So what I'm doing right now, I'm folding the dresses in half. I found a placement that I feel comfortable with on the first dress, and I made a template on my copy of the dress, and I put these dots here where I want it to go. So I'm laying that over the dresses, matching up the side seams, and I'm putting a dot where that goes. So I'm using my Dritz like fabric pencil thing that I thrifted a ways back, and then I am putting a pin in it at that spot just so I get it symmetrical on both sides. It's Sunday morning. Kids are gonna be kids. I have a great playlist going right now, and I'm often, when I'm sewing, I'm often watching like YouTube videos and stuff, but this time I just so happen to have just a decent playlist. I went on YouTube, my feel good playlist, a lot of Bruno, a lot of Ed Sheeran, a lot of Whitney Houston, a lot of Phil Collins. And I'm having myself a good old time this morning. So right now we are placing pockets. I am going to where is it here? Put some rickrack on the pockets. So I'm going to put some rickrack on the pockets, like at the top, so I can sew down like the flap. And that's going to be the first thing I do. I'm going to do that. I've put them in sets like that were kind of similar. This is going to be the single pocket, and then most of the other ones have a pretty good like match with their friends. Okay, So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rickrack along the top, and that's also gonna serve as a really great guide for me because everything was pressed under using my template yesterday. There are gonna be no raw edges, and I'm gonna be able to kind of top stitch that right onto the pocket front. I made sure I'm doing this while the side seams are free. So yeah, let's finish putting the pins in each of these. This is my last one. How adorable. How adorable is this? So I went ahead around the facing on the outside in order to stitch it down as well as add some lovely detail. I went ahead and added rickrack. This is going to be the arm binding once I turn that inside. So that'll be the next step. This is the gathered one. So this is the only dress that has this tier here. And I did go ahead and just add on that additional piece of fabric just so it was long enough. Here are the pockets. They're super cute. Also rick-racked up. I love that I went through the additional time and effort to do those details. I think they just add so much. So I have two with the blue rickrack and the rickrack on the pockets as well. Two there, double pocket situation, and then two with the pink rickrack. I did take a break for lunch. The kids are napping. I'm gonna go pray and then see how much I can get through and get back to this. Very excited. They're turning out super adorable, and I'm glad that maybe it was for the better that things didn't work out yesterday because this is taking a lot longer than I was thinking. Okay. I don't know where my head was at. Yeah, I'm gonna make 5 dresses in like 7 hours. No big deal. Fatmata, sometimes you just gotta laugh. It's like, wow. I only have 2 left to do. I have this beautiful one. This is the one that I hacked and just kind of cut off the bodice. You see the highlights of the yellow. I actually think the yellow is a really great accent to it. So that's really nice. And 2 pockets, feeling good. I am really proud of how I'm finishing these. I'll say that. So flat felled seams, French seams where applicable. Here is the other. I have 2 that look like this. 1 and 2. I did exposed bias binding around the arm side because I had the extra wide, like the double fold one of this color bias binding. I wish it was the exact color as the rickrack. They pick up 2 different colors that are in the fabric. So the rickrack picks up like this blue and then the bias binding picks up the teal. So I'm gonna let it go because that's what I had available, but I think for the pink ones, because I don't have an exact match of the pink rickrack, I have this lighter color pink. I think I am gonna try and do the non-exposed bias binding, the one where you fold it on the inside, because I think I prefer that finish, even though this pink definitely is the same pink as this. Anyway, these are the last 2 that I need to complete, and then I'll try and start packaging them so that I can get those sent off to Mari tomorrow morning, hopefully. But that's that. I'm really, really excited. I'll show you all 5 of them once they're complete, but this took much longer than I gave it credit for, particularly given the fact that I chose to finish them the way that I did. Otherwise, I probably, if I was using my serger to just like kind of rip through those seams and didn't add all the rickrack trim and all of those different details, I'm quite certain this would have been finished a long time ago. But I enjoy taking my time and putting forth all of those great efforts. But yeah, definitely really great that I was able to do 5 dresses in about a day and a half. I'm really proud and excited that I get to contribute to Project Dress a Girl this year and that I didn't let it pass me by. Next year though, need to do it much sooner in the month, but glad nonetheless. All right, hope you're having a great day. Bye. We finished. We're all done. And reflections on this is that it didn't need to be this hard. And I don't know why it took me so long to like get it done, because September was a whole month long, y'all. A whole month long. Now, I wasn't fully in commission all of September, so let's not pretend as though I had all of September to do this. However, it is what it is. I wish I would have started like a day earlier, to be honest, because had I started maybe like on Thursday night or anyways, that's neither here nor there because I didn't. But we're done. We have 5 dresses for Project Dress-A-Girl. So I'm going to photograph them, hopefully on like a plain-ish background, because I think Mari would prefer to have the photos. I think that's how they're keeping count of how many have been made and donated. I think my favorite is gonna have to be this one. I love this yellow one. I think it's just so darling. I really like the gathers, and it's just so cute. This fabric is phenomenal. So I'm hopeful that some little girls, or 5 little girls, end up really excited for their me-made, handmade dresses. And I made sure to follow all of the requirements. So it's pull over the head, has the tie straps in the back. Made sure that each of them have at least 1 pocket, but 4 have 2. And then we have the pink version. This one is one of the ones that I flared out quite a bit. And then you have one that is like just as the pattern kind of calls for it. So this is the amount that it's flared out. Yeah, I'm really happy I participated. Again, would have loved to have started a little bit earlier. Let me know in the comments down below if you participated. What are your thoughts on these little dresses? And this was definitely a Frantic sew moment. And I had, prior to this, been really enjoying just the like sew it at my leisure when I feel like it. And this put me back to like the way I used to sew. I didn't appreciate that. Again, really happy with the finishes that I went through and made. And I do believe that those are the finishes that made it take as long as it did. I wish I would have done like a stopwatch every single time I like sat and actually worked on it, so I knew within these past 2 days like how long did it actually take me, because you're seeing me pop in like after lunchtime and dinner and guests. So I haven't been like working on it full stop the whole time. But yeah, it was a journey. Well, that's all, folks. Happy Project Dress-A-Girl, and I cannot wait to participate next year. I don't mind the like assembly line sewing. I might actually say that I prefer that, but again, a bit more time. So let's start like September 1. See how we do. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.